It's been 2 years since lawmakers on Capitol Hill shut down the DREAM Act, which would have given undocumented immigrants legal status and a path to citizenship. Obama has, however, put in place relief measures, including a program that stops the deportation of immigrants who were brought to the U.S. as children. But immigration reform isn't just a Washington, D.C. issue. A coalition made up of Silicon Valley's richest executives, including Facebook's Mark Zuckerberg, have poured as much as $50 million this year alone in its push for an overhaul of the U.S. policy. Chicago is home to some 600,000 immigrants, and more than half of them are from Latin American countries. Democrats have long been able to count on their vote, but some Hispanic voters are threatening to stay at home come Election Day. They say it's time to show politicians that they are fed up with Washington, D.C.'s inaction on immigration. Callebs has more.
In President Barack Obama's hometown of Chicago, Illinois, immigration is one of the key issues in the midterm races. Here in the neighborhood of Little Village, there are more than 20,000 undocumented workers, most from Mexico, people living in the shadows, constantly in fear of deportation.
I remember being around 12 years old when my parents told me that they themselves were undocumented. And it was like a big shock when they said, you know, we don't have papers, we're not here legally. Like, we can get deported any minute and we'll be gone like this.
It was this shock to the system that made 23-year-old Idalia Cervantes want to be a community organizer and work to reform immigration laws in the United States. Cervantes is a U.S. citizen and was thrilled 6 long years ago when candidate Barack Obama vowed to make life better for immigrants within his first 100 days in office.
I was just so excited thinking that he was going to give us this immigration reform.
But nothing has changed, despite another Obama promise for reform in 2012 and again this year. Idalia says her family and friends are still labeled illegals, a term she loathes.
Illegal is a thing. And when you're telling a person that they are illegal, it's like you're saying that they're not human.
Idalia's older sister, Elizabeth, is not a U.S. citizen. Born in Mexico, her status is called DACA, Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals, meaning every 2 years she reapplies for temporary status in the U.S. She's an activist and organizer as well, and fed up with promises from politicians.
It's pretty frustrating, especially when you see that left and right, people that you know are being deported and the families are getting separated. And that you could potentially be next, right?
Many Latinos here in Obama's hometown believe the president's image has become permanently tarnished. Too many promises of immigration reform have gone unfulfilled. And now many believe that Obama and Democrats in general are taking the voting bloc for granted.
Not only did he not deliver, we've seen record levels of deportations, more than any other president in U.S. history.
Lawrence Benito now calls President Obama the deporter-in-chief, saying 2 million people have been deported from neighborhoods like Little Village during Obama's administration. But what about the argument that undocumented workers are in the U.S. illegally, and critics say a drain on taxpayers while taking jobs from U.S. citizens?
You go into any restaurant, any hotel, who's washing your dishes, cleaning your hotel room, taking care of your kids. We need to have an honest conversation in this country about what we need and look who's delivering those things.
Chicago's large Latino population pumps a great deal of money into the local economy. Little Village brings in the second highest revenue of any Chicago community, according to Benito.
All of our salsas and everything like that, rice and beans.
Miguel Gonzalez's family has owned and operated this restaurant for 12 years. People come for the authentic Mexican flavor. And like so many others, his employees have anxiously waited for immigration reform. It could mean they wouldn't be deported if caught driving to work or shopping at the local mall.
They have their hopes up, they have their plans that people say, you know, this will happen in the future. Well, people get tired of waiting.
One thing Latino voters may not deliver this election: votes to the Democratic Party.
I don't want to get my hopes up on them. But then also, if we vote for the Republican Party, we've known that they do not want us here at all.
People are angry, they're frustrated, they're disillusioned by our system of government in which politicians say what they think people want to hear and then not deliver.
Broken promises could cost Democrats dearly at the polls. Latinos are the largest minority in the U.S. and have always been a virtual lock for the Democratic Party. But as one voter told me, she would rather vote for a Republican who openly demonizes her as opposed to a Democrat who doesn't tell the truth. Sean Callebs, CCTV, Chicago, Illinois.